going on, people? Yours truly, Prince Quincy, officially in the building. Another extra time special, and it gives me great pleasure whenever I interview people from my manor and they're doing really, really well and inspiring people. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Clint DYER. Hello, sir. How you doing?
I'm all right.
It's good to see you. It's got the accent.
Yeah. I try. I try.
So look, thanks for. I know you're a busy man. The last couple of years has been crazy busy for you since lockdown. You know what I mean? How you finding the industry treating you so far?
It's always been something that's a challenge. You know, any sort of creative industry has lots of competition. You know, and so you're always trying to battle the next layer, as it were. But yeah, no, I feel like I'm doing okay.
So I know you from acting.
Yeah,
from back in the day.
You know
what I mean? For shows like Horrible,
Australia
and stuff like that. I'm going way back.
You're going way back, okay.
And then you went and started doing directing. Do you actually miss acting?
Desperately. Yeah, I mean, that's almost all I can say. Desperately. I mean, yeah, the role here won't last forever, and in a sense, I can't wait to get back to my acting. And it's my acting, it's who I am. I feel like I'm an actor that directs and writes, as opposed to, I'm a writer. I feel like my central thing
is the acting.
Really.
So, the fact of that you've directed many of a play, is that something that you have fallen into because of the lack of opportunity of acting, or you just wanted to experience different things? I
always just loved story. So I started out at Theatre Stratford East.
That's right.
So under Philip Headley, they used to have a Saturday morning workshop. So when I was like 15, and I did a school play and then was invited to go to the workshops on the Saturday morning. And the thing that I was most attracted to was improvising. And so that's basically how I used to create all the work. And it's kind of like something that came from Joan Littlewood age and through Philip's time there as well, was this trying to have new voices in theatre. And the way to have new voices was so that the written word was amazing and used, but also the ability to use improvisation as a way to write material. Mm-hmm. So every summer, my friends would be going off on their holidays, and I'd be at the workshop devising plays for improvisation. So the whole sort of my whole entrance and my whole understanding of acting came out of writing. Creating stories. So I've never really seen the lines, as it were.
It's really good to see, as growing up in the areas in Newham, that a lot of our friends were playing football, chasing girls, and it's like the likes of yourself.
I was doing all those things as well.
Yeah, but you still had your focus, you know.
Yeah. Of course.
And so that's what.
Well, not according to. So I was at Barking College of Technology.
That's right. Yeah.
And I ended up getting a Coca-Cola commercial, and it conflicted with. And as you know, Coca-Cola commercials are massive. Massive.
Yeah.
And it's massive. And so it conflicted with a 2-day show that I was meant to be doing at Barking College. And I told him way in advance. I had like 4 or 5 lines in the thing. And he said, no, if you don't do the play, I'm going to fling you off your A-levels. So I brought my mum and sister turned up. And he said, no, we're not bringing him back on. Because she said, we wanted to do it. So what are you talking about? And he said, no, he's too interested in chasing girls. So according to him, I was only interested in chasing girls, which obviously was not the truth.
That's right. How wrong was he? It's good.
Well, he did. Obviously, I got a letter of apology when the big life happened.
Yeah. It's amazing the amount of talent. Do you appreciate the amount of talent that's come out of our little square miles of Newham?
Yeah, no. You know what? I think that there's something about coming from an area where you understand the hustle. So whatever you have to do, you have to work hard. You have to have an element of vocal dexterity which means that you can achieve what you want to achieve and have the personality to be able to be. It's not about being taken seriously. It's about having a personality that is charming enough to open a door for yourself, or to people think that I want that person around me. You know what I mean? It's very much the East End kind of barra boy thing. You know, that no matter what colour, creed, or anything, you kind of understand. You need a bit of like
different personalities.
a bit of smarts about you.
And I think that's what suits you in the roles you do, and just as an actor in general, because every day we have to be a different persona.
Exactly.
Depending what environment we're in.
Yeah, no,
so, Death of England is one of yours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I watched that during lockdown.
Right, okay. No,
it was you screened it on YouTube.
Yeah, that's right.
Channel.
Yeah. Because we opened and closed on the same day.
That's right, yeah.
But really quickly.
What was the emotions like? The fact of it was because that was the tip where that could have. Well, it's going to take it to the next level anyway. But to have something open and then shut.
There's opening and shut, and then it's where it's open and shut. So I had a show on the Olivier stage, a bigger stage in Britain, arguably Europe, arguably the world. Me from Newham gets to speak gets to speak the stories that come from me. That comes from me and Roy Williams, that comes from the people that we know, come from an experience that is not usually, doesn't usually get that sort of prominent position. The one in the first, I can't remember the actual title of it in the sense of how many firsts there were in terms of me and Roy getting that play on, and then me directing something that I've written on the Olivier stage. I mean, it's ludicrous the amount of kind of like, oh my god, that's first. So then to have it happen during COVID, to have it happen after George Floyd, to have it well, that's the point. It was we just opened up again, and then to find out that we were going to open and close on the same day, and then to find out actually there's a possibility of it going on NT Live, which would mean that it would get beamed throughout the world, which obviously is a massive privilege, and we me and Roy decided to not take our fees, royalty fees, so that we could have it given away free. So it was all kind of a real sort of beautiful, horrible, amazing, tragic.
What different emotions?
Oh God, the reaction was great. What also happened was that Giles Terrera was meant to do it. Giles was playing Othello in my Othello. He had an appendicitis 2 days before we opened, 2 weeks before we opened.
Oh wow!
So we were already coming into it with all my hair standing on end at the shock of that happening, and then the exhaustion of putting Michael Balladigan through his paces to be able to put him up to get him to a point where he could actually perform it on that night.
I will say, watching it, he killed it.
Yeah, it was amazing.
He opened my eyes. I didn't recognise him as that person that it really immersed in that character. Yeah. So what I want to, before we get into the fellow, I want to actually, The Death of England, I would say, is one of the few plays that I've actually seen and watched and appreciated and understood. Relationship between the black community and theatre. Do you still think it's got like that kind of two magnets trying to fuse together?
No, I wouldn't say that at all. I wouldn't say. I mean, I grew up at Thirlwell Stratford East, so to broadly say we don't fuse with theatre would be to kind of dismiss the decades of black theatre there has been in this country.
So originally the play was a straight play, but you turned it into a funny.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it was something that had a long history at the Royal Court, as a straight play. And, you know, for me, the premise inside it meant you were almost undermining black people if you didn't understand it as funny.
I can understand.
To think that you could set up that situation and they didn't, the characters inside it didn't understand the ludicrous nature of the situation, meant that you were undermining our ability.
Mindset.
Yeah. And so who tells your story is very important.
So now you're the artistic director.
No, I'm the deputy artistic director.
Deputy, but
You don't want to get that wrong.
No, but I'll put that energy out there. So you're the deputy artistic director. That's the thing. So you're in that situation now where you can influence and put plays on to tell those stories.
Yeah.
So Othello.
So I've wanted to do Othello for what? Nearly 20 years. I've watched a gazillion productions of it over the years and always been frustrated that it didn't really feel like it understood the black experience. You've got a black man as a central part in it. And no matter how many times I saw it, and as you know, the history of it is that white people used to play that part very famously. Laurence Olivier, who built the building that I'm now in, played the part. And so it's been quite controversial throughout these years for black people to really feel comfortable with the play. I think it's always been a play that it's kind of shown where we are politically and racially throughout the hundreds of years that it's been performed. It's kind of always made us understand the power dynamic.
That's right.
Because very rarely do black people get in a position to articulate the play in a way that makes it feel understandable or relatable, or hold up a mirror to where we are in the present time. I believe that that's what Shakespeare was trying to do. I think he was trying to make audiences recognise themselves in the situations that are being portrayed on the stage. And so I was always disappointed in productions because I just didn't feel that the context by which it was being produced made sense.
Here I kneel. If e'er my will did trespass against his love, either in discourse of thought, or actual deed, or that mine eyes, mine ears, or any sense delighted them in any other form, or that I do not yet, and ever did, and ever will, though he do shake me off to beggarly divorcement, love him dearly. Comfort. Forswear.
And now you've taken it and given it your own kind of
I've
take
given it my lens, and what's interesting about it is that it opens up different cross-sectionality inside it, so that you suddenly understand that women are treated in such a misogynistic way, whereas all the productions before never really owned that as part of it. So as soon as you really understand it as a play about power, as opposed to just a play about jealousy, you understand that everybody is being held by this power dynamic, or this the desire for this power dynamic. So Iago is part of the is also a victim to the power dynamic that he wants to be part of.
Yeah. To get yourself ready for a play like this, you know what I mean? Where did you take yourself? How did you prepare?
Well, you know, I did loads and loads of workshops. I had to go and study Shakespeare. You know, I got a Shakespeare expert to guide me through trying to understand the language. So I knew what I wanted to do with it, but it was more a case of how do I How do I make sure that I'm not missing anything and I understand everything? So to be able to direct the actors, you know, I've got to understand every syllable. But luckily here you have all the best teams, all the best people. You know, you're very fortunate to be held in that way. So I feel very lucky.
So is that on the 23rd?
23rd of February, in near 100 screens throughout the country and across the world. NT Live goes across the world, 65 countries. In most of your local cinemas, you know, it's a thing. I mean, it's a first. It's the first time that a production of this kind of weight, by weight I mean, you know, at National Theatre, a national concern, a national subject, has been delivered by a black voice. It's the first time that racism is being held as a cause of, I'm not trying to give away the plot, but as a cause of why it ends the way it ends. Whereas before it was always jealousy. We understand that that the world that he lives in would be the world that would push him into these decisions. And so he's the first time he feels the victim of not just his actions or Iago's actions, but of the community that he lives in.
Lastly, I know you're busy now rehearsing that. You've mentioned a lot of the firsts in this interview, and our mutual friend, Mr. Elba.
Yeah. Go on.
Describe. So, would you say that it's pigeonholed it?
Pigeon, how do you mean?
As in the first black in the National Theatre.
Yeah, no, he's talking about a different thing though. So Idris is talking about the ability to play roles without the context being that he's black.
Yeah.
The context by which I am delivering my lens on a piece of work is always going to be through a black perspective. Okay. I can only see through my black eyes. I can't suddenly become somebody else. You know, I am always going to be working to use my experience to deliver a piece of work. So it's always going to be black.
Yeah.
No matter whether there's white characters in there, it's going to be as an outsider who's looking into that.
Well, I will say to you, I wish you all the success, man.
Yeah, cheers, man. Cheers.
Sincerely mean that, like I said. Looking forward to watching it.
Yeah, I hope you like it.
I know I'm going to probably like it because you've got a great record of great work. And I wish to see many more stuff for you to do, man.
Cheers. I mean, I suppose what's interesting about me and you being Newham boys and us talking into something that is meant to be considered lofty. Yeah. You know, it's a testament to the real notions that it doesn't belong to anybody. It's ours. Yeah. Like the National Theatre is ours. If you pay your tax, the National Theatre belongs to you.
That's right.
You know, if you're born and you like theatre and like words and human beings that act, Shakespeare is for you.
That's right.
It's stories about our lives.
That's right.
You know, it's holding a mirror up to our lives. No matter how, no matter what context, that is what it is.
And this is why I brought this interview together to talk to you about, like, theatre is for everybody.
It's for everybody.
So look, as a deputy, assistant director of the theatre, what kind of changes do you think that you're going to bring? Would you like to bring the team?
I think
for everyone.
Yeah, I think the thing I'd like to see happen or feel that I had an influence over is it's not just the amount of work we put on that's by minority, global majority artists. It's actually the audiences. I'd love to see and that's kind of why I was trying to say, that I want everybody to understand that this theatre belongs to them, that they're paying for it. I don't think we understand that we're paying for it.
Yeah, well,
you never look at it like that. Once we pay our taxes, this is ours.
Yeah. I know, the same way we should be invited to the royal weddings, you know what I mean?
Well, there you go. but it's ours. We pay for it. It's ours. It's our building. And I'd love to feel that black audiences global majority audiences feel more comfortable about owning the space in here, as in sitting down and watching the work and feeling that I'm allowed to, I am justified, it is mine. I can come here on a Saturday night and even if I feel like, oh, there's only 5% of us that are black in here, that I'm meant to be here. So that's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
You know?
And I look at, when I come to this, when I come to this theatre, I've been like 2 or 3 times, and it's been a very small percentage of the black community, but they've been black productions.
Yeah.
But the audience from different nationalities, as long as they go away and have a conversation, or they know something different. So like when I'm on stage, they will know different, not about I don't represent the whole black community.
No, exactly.
But they know something, I'm different, we're non-monolithic.
Yeah, exactly. It's there to make people think.
That's right.
You know, you want to be part of that conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
And an audience, a global audience means a global understanding, and that's what we want.
That's right. That's why this is going out global. Yeah, definitely. All right, people. It's Extra Time Friday. I'm with Mr. Clint DYER. East London boys. Knew him. We're doing our thing, even though his school was superior to mine.
Superior. St. Bonaventure, superior. Oh, right, okay. Well, our football team was superior.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Education. Education. The football team was good. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was good, yeah. And because you had Mr. Defoe there.
Yeah. Nice.